Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you to another episode of the Gafford and Brown Show. I'm Lamar Gafford,
I'm Robert Brown.
and in today's episode, it's been a long time since we've been on the air.
Yeah, we had a little bye week of our own.
Most importantly, too, had to get a few things straightened out. But hey, we're back. We're on the air right now. Today's episode talking about what went on in the NFL today, also college football yesterday, and a couple of other things that went on in the sports world right now. Uh, I guess I guess our first story pretty much is going to be about this Houston game since it's on right now, 21-3 for the Houston Texans. And right now, it seems like Case Keenum has really rejuvenated this Texans team and all that.
Yeah, he seems to have the job pretty much. Feels like last season when Colin Kaepernick took over for Alex Smith. Yeah, he pretty much has the team behind him. I think they're gonna invest in him for the rest of the year. Right now, he definitely is having his moment. What, 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns, yes.
Yeah, Andre Johnson looks like he's uh, looks like a 2007 or 8 again. You know when he's looking at her. So yeah, great game for Case. He pretty much he pretty much has it because you look at his Schaub is injured and he's pretty much put them in the hole. T.J. Yates is a little bit too raw. Um, Still trying to become an NFL quarterback. And Case Keenum, a guy who was really good at the University of Houston. I remember, I think it was his junior year, he was an early Heisman candidate, you know. So he's a guy that has a lot of potential and a lot of raw talent.
Right. And pretty much a local boy, as you just said, too, coming from U of H. And, the guy was pretty good. Houston was this close to really making it to the BCS, I think, his last year as well. But until that game in the Conference USA Championship game happened. But it was kind of a point here. They really needed something to spark their team back up. Pretty much Matt Schaub had fallen out of favor with the fans with his pick six, with his play. Then they had T.J. Yates, and then T.J. Yates comes in there. He throws a pick six immediately after they wanted him. And now you get this guy, in Case Keenum, to come right back in there. I saw his first game a couple of weeks ago where he played against the Chiefs. Didn't win the game, but they responded well to him that they wanted to give him another shot. And on the big stage, Sunday Night Football, where the whole nation is watching, I mean, this guy is just coming out there and just going out there with guns blazing in this.
Oh, yeah. And now we get to see Andrew Luck working his comeback magic, a guy who's got quite a few comeback wins under his belt. So anxious to see how this goes, especially with the Colts moving down the field in the third. So we got ourselves a ball game.
Right. And I will not count out this Colts team already. I mean, they've had some impressive wins earlier this season. Uh, Knocked off Denver. I think they're like 5-3 right now, or if not 5-3, 6-2. They're really playing very well, and we knew that they were going to be a playoff team, but we didn't think they were going to be leading the division. Not quite yet, as far as this year, until we see what Houston had in the early part of the season.
Right. And we really get to see Houston look like the team that we thought we would see earlier, well, from last year. Because earlier this season we were kind of like, this was a team that could have started out 0-3, and they had that rough start, that huge loss to Seattle, where they pretty much dominated the game and gave up a huge lead. So yeah, we're seeing them starting to get back into form, and if they win this game tonight, they still can win this division.
Mm-hmm. Now, also about this game too, prayers go out to Gary Kubiak, who before the halftime began, he was collapsed on the field, and I really hate to I really hate to have to, you know, play doctor in here, and I don't know what's going on with him. Everybody says that he's okay, and the trip to the ambulance is pretty much precautionary. But it's kind of a a toll what these coaches have to go through in order to try to save their jobs and all that, because they put in late hours and stuff like that. And it just recently happened with John Fox yesterday with the heart problem, a little bit of heart problems that he had, heart attack I think as well. So it is a little bit of a I guess it's a stressful job. It's a stressful job in coaching because you got to try to save your job, try to put your team out there in the daily preparations and stuff, and it's just tough. It's just tough. Also going through with most of the games here from earlier today, the Vikings and the Cowboys played against each other, 27-23 Dallas, but the Dallas won, but in no way, shape, or form, I'm not very proud. I'm kind of not proud about this game. Well, what was your assessment after just looking at probably some of the stats and stuff?
Well, the Cowboy game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was expecting Dallas to pretty much dominate it. Pretty much on it. Christian Ponder started, right?
Nah, yeah.
Yeah, so I really thought with Ponder started, they gave Dallas a better chance to be dominant. But I mean, looking at the stats and all that, I mean, it's just they keep playing down to the competition, and they keep keeping games too close. This is a Cowboy team that's really only looked dominant once this season. That was against St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, they've given up leads. They've given up last-second drives. It's just tough. And today was almost another heartbreaking loss.
Right, and again, it's just there's no way. I mean, I'm just watching this whole game, and there's no way that if I'm Dallas, I'm proud of what went on in this game. I mean, Romo, 34 for 51, 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw a pick in the game. This would have been an easier game for you to not have him throw 51 passes against a 1-6 team that has been struggling this season with their play at quarterback. At least I would have thought, I would have wanted to see them come out on fire, cylinders, guns blazing, after that embarrassing loss last week to Detroit, and you giving up 329 yards receiving to Megatron, Calvin Johnson. They just failed to do that, and it's just right now here. But at least the good thing is, if you can only find one silver lining here, Cowboys, they're 5-4. They lead the NFC East by a game, and they got to be fortunate that that division is just terrible.
Yeah, it's a rough year for that division. You got the Giants who started out 0-6. You got the Redskins who had a rough start. The Eagles who are up and down, up and down, up and down. So it's like you just don't really know what's going on. So right now Dallas has the lead, but it's nothing I would want to brag about.
I'm not bragging about it one bit.
Especially with the Redskins starting to pick up steam. So we'll see how that goes.
Right, and I have a feeling that second half is going to be a decent one. Like I said, Cowboys, even though I'm not bragging about this win, you still have that separation because guess what? The Eagles, they won. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Eagles game in a bit, but and Nick Foles' accomplishment. But the Eagles, they won that game. You stay a game ahead of them. Also, the Skins, they won. You stay a game and a half ahead of them here than if you would have lost the game and you would have to give up the game back to them. And also, the Giants, after starting off 0-6, they won their last 2 games. Now I know they didn't play today because they were on a bye, but the Giants, they're getting there. They're about to get there, and you know that they're not going to be a team that's going to be down for long. They're going to make a fight out of this. They got Eli Manning. They have Tom Coughlin. Those two, you can't associate themselves with losing in anything. But, they're going to be all right. And I got a feeling that, the second half is just going to be pretty interesting for the Cowboys and stuff.
Right.
Now, also going on, staying in that division, Nick Foles has 7 touchdowns in this game against the Raiders as the Eagles defeated the Raiders 49-20. Michael Vick's job.
Yeah, it's looking like the last hurrah for Michael Vick in Philly. Nick Foles had 7 touchdowns, a pretty impressive game. If he stays healthy, I think it's pretty much his gig. Vic, who just can't stay healthy his whole career, has been this struggle. So we're probably going to see. I think he might get one more chance before the season's over. I think Nick Foles might get injured, or might have a bad game, and Vic might get another chance. But I don't think right now, if Foles can keep playing at this pace, they might just go ahead and invest in Foles long term.
Yeah, and a lot of Philly fans have been wanting this for a long time, and finally, fruition. I think there's got to be a chance that he's going to start the next game. He's pretty much going to start this next game with Nick Foles, but I also have a feeling that we're probably going to see, you know, you know, who knows? Michael Vick might come back later in the season. He might get a chance to regain his job, but at this time, I don't think that he's going to be he's not going to start this next game. I got a good feeling about that. Nick Foles, though, congratulations, did a very good job out there. Was pretty much he had more touchdowns than incompletions in this game. 7 touchdowns, 6 incompletions. Moved the ball very well, and hey, this is a passing league now, and
Yeah, pretty pass happy league. And when you got Nick Foles as your quarterback and Chip Kelly, the ball is going to get thrown around. So definitely going to see a lot of that from Philly.
right. And some more games here too. The Chiefs stayed perfect. They beat the Bills 23-13. It looked like it was going to be the Bills. They were going to try to get the upset here. They were up 10-3 at halftime, but then a Jeff Toole pick 6 changed everything and gave it to the Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs once again stay undefeated, and this makes that Broncos Chiefs matchup pretty interesting.
Yeah, and right now, it probably wasn't that impressive for a win for the Chiefs here. They did get 2 defensive touchdowns in the game. Alex Smith just did what you wanted him to do. Just don't turn over the ball. 19 of 29, 124 yards. But like I said, no picks, no touchdowns, but no picks in the game. And yeah, next week, the game between the Chiefs and the Broncos is going to be very, very good. And I think we were talking about this before, and we were saying, well, actually, it's not going to be next week because the Chiefs have a bye week, but it's going to be the week after that. But also on Sunday Night Football. So that's going to be an interesting game there. And we were just talking about this before we started off the show, like the magic number, 28 points. I have a good feeling that if Kansas City can hold Denver to 28, they have a better chance of winning than they do than if they had to go out there in a shootout against Denver and have to score 28 points. Because then Peyton Manning, Alex Smith.
I agree. Yeah, the Chiefs are built really to come back from behind, but they have this stellar defense though. So if they keep Denver, I'll say under 21, it's anybody's ball game. They'll favor their style of play for them, but we'll see because Denver's defense isn't necessarily that great against the pass, but Alex Smith is pretty much a average passer, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be a close game. I would even say overtime.
Right. And I'm hoping for overtime. I really am. And speaking of, too, we had another overtime game earlier with the Seahawks and the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay looked like they were almost going to get their first win of the season, up 24-7. But then here comes Seattle, come all the way back, and they won the game in overtime, 27-24. It's a lot of resolve. First, I guess we could just look at it from the Seahawks standpoint. After 2 lackluster games, they didn't really perform well against the Rams in the last game, and they have the slow start against the Buccaneers here. With these 2 wins, I mean, can they still be considered as part of the NFL's best? I still think so.
Yeah, I mean, they're still on top. They only have one loss.
Right.
The lead of the division, they're definitely considered one of the league's best teams, and they keep finding ways to pull out victories. Especially that game against St. Louis was very impressive. And this one, they come from behind and still win in overtime. I mean, that's those are the type of wins that make Super Bowl seasons. So we're going to continue to call them one of the best teams in football until they lose in, a blowout fashion, or they just get beat down. And the Colts had fought a good game against them, had a great game plan, but I mean, you're not going to win all of them.
Right. And yeah, absolutely, you're not. You're just not. But also from the Buccaneers standpoint, you're now 0-8, and it seems like all of this stuff that's going on with Greg Schiano, his job, pretty much, that seat is like, it has to be Death Valley High right now.
Yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, you get rid of the franchise quarterback, supposedly, and then this is what this is the best you're putting out. It's not looking good.
Yeah. They're 0-8. I think Jacksonville's 0-8 as well. And it just is not looking good in Florida. And thank goodness that they at least have the Dolphins out there playing very well. Or, this whole division would just be awful. But man, it's not looking good, and it looks like the Buccaneers and Jacksonville, they're fighting for that number 1 pick hard.
Pretty much, and I think more so Jacksonville may fall in Jacksonville because it looks bad.
Yeah, there it's just horrible, and especially with the Justin Blackmon, he can't just seem to get right.
Yeah, and then you blame Gafford. This is just bad.
Yeah, it's starting to get horrible out there, and it's just tough. It's just tough. I guess now also looking forward to Monday's game against the Bears and the Packers, which we're hoping that we're going to have a good game between these 2 rivals, and I think we will. Any prediction that you have in this game?
I think Green Bay wins. Green Bay by, I'm going to say 21-17. Well, not 3, but 21-17 win.
Mm-hmm. I got Green Bay in this one. The Bears, I don't think they're going to win this game without Cutler. And I think the Packers they're starting to get things back together after starting off 1-2. 4 straight wins. Seems like with Aaron Rodgers, and they're getting healthy too. Aaron Rodgers continues to do this with a who's who of receivers, and hey, Eddie Lacy's back out there, and they have a running game now, and that also helps out too. So I guess I got the Packers out there winning this game, and that's pretty much going to be it too. And I guess got a chance to see the scores here, and see which team surprised you a lot and which team didn't surprise you a lot.
Definitely Philly. Philly surprised me. The Vikings surprised me, even though they didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they put up that type of fight, and trying to think. Still waiting on which San Diego team to show up.
Right.
I mean, every week it's something different. I mean, it's the same thing. I don't know. We used to blame North Turner, but is it deeper than that? Is it Philip Rivers? Is it just why are they so inconsistent?
It's just crazy. I mean, man, they lost in overtime. You lose to the Skins. You let the Skins basically go up and down the field on you, and that's not that's just not good. They have to be one of those disappointing teams out there. They really do. If I had to give another sign for the disappointing team out there, like I said, I've got to continue to go ahead and say the Cowboys, because in a win you did not look good out there, and I feel like that there could have been better for you to go out there and do. And of course, the Buccaneers. I know that they're an 0-8 team, but you had one of the best teams out there. You pretty much had the foot under the throat, and you gagged away a game like this, and it's pretty much going to be bye-bye to the coach. My surprise team, I'm going to give some love to the New York Jets.
Yeah.
Big win over the Saints.
I'm surprised. And it looks like they kind of owned the NFC South a little bit. They got that Monday night win over Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Now they beat the Saints.
They beat the Bucks.
Yeah, they beat the Bucks. Yeah, so they definitely own the NFC South right now.
Right, and they're performing. They're a good team at home, and they've alternated wins and losses over their past 6 games. But they're a good team at home. 4-1 at home. Not so good on the road, of course. 1-3, but nothing was pretty much expected of them. But I heard about Rex Ryan here. Rex has these boys playing very well, and the pressure's on him, but he's responded well to them, and he's responded well.
Yeah.
So
Gino definitely is the guy now. Mark Sanchez probably going to get bought out or traded or leased or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the Gino Aerosmith is here to stay. And Ryan, he's earned himself another extension maybe. He's his job to say.
Right.
The defense is playing well. He's pretty much got his gig. He gets to keep his gig.
Right, and the good thing is too, he's being more. He's not as outspoken as he was when he first came in as the coach of the Jets too. Kind of realized he had to tone it back a little bit, and his team's doing pretty well. 5-4. Very not what we expected the Jets to be this season. We thought they were probably going to be we probably thought that they were going to have 5 wins this season, honestly. And he's done a nice job so far. And Rex is a pretty good coach. Make no bones about that. Anytime you come into anytime in your first 2 years as a coach that you go to the AFC Championship game your first 2 years, that speaks testaments to what about your team. And I'm willing to basically throw past 2 years and say that it's kind of a circus and all that. Especially with the first year, with third year, I think 2011, you were close to making it to the playoffs and you didn't. And last season you had Tebow.
Yeah.
And that circus that went on there.
Yeah.
I think again you're looking at a pretty good coach in Rex Ryan, and hopefully he gets the chance to stay a little bit longer, and that he can still continue to build around. And right now, also game update as far as the games here, the Texans are up 24-6 over the Colts with 4:25 left in the third quarter. And next week, Cowboys Saints on Sunday Night Football, and then Chiefs against the Broncos 2 weeks from now on Sunday night as well. 2 very good games that's going to come our way.
Yeah, we're getting definitely getting viewing pleasures worth between those 2 games. Now next week's game is going to be big. If Dallas loses, it's not really going to hurt them much in their division and whatnot. But being that you're a Cowboys fan and you happen to live in Louisiana, the bragging rights are on the table.
Yes, most definitely. A lot of people probably don't see this game as a big rivalry outside of the Arklatex area. And right now, you are seeing that this is a huge rivalry, and this is real. Like the players, they probably can care less really, but as far as the fans, especially in Shreveport, especially in North Louisiana, it's a huge thing. And Saints win, they're gonna be trolling the Cowboys fans. Cowboys win, hey, guess what? They're gonna be trolling the Saints fans and stuff. It just continues to make for good, for good banter and everything. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be nice. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be nice. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be a good game. High scoring, of course. Right now, though, if I had to pick any defense over one team, I'd probably pick Saints defense.
Mm-hmm.
Saints defense is playing better football in the long run. If I had to pick a team right now, who would win? That's tough. Man, I don't know. I don't know. You know what though? I'll go for the upset. I'll pick. I think I'll pick Dallas. I think I'll pick the Cowboys. Go for the upset. I think they have to stop this losing in this heartbreaking fashion. I think they finally close the game.
Right. And hey, I mean, of course, you know where I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say the Cowboys game. I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Cowboys too. And I think that, like you said, the Saints they got the better defense right now. Especially you getting Rob Ryan as your coach. They really uh, they really responded well to him. I mean, hard hits. He's doing a very nice job, and it's just been good for them. You know, of course, that offense that they have, you know, they're good with that offense.
Right.
And the Cowboys here, of course, you may know that they can match tit for tat here as well. But I think the Cowboys could have a pretty good chance of winning this game, man. They can if they come out with a good game plan early in the game, their defense doesn't mess things up. Hey, Cowboys could win this game, go to 6-4, and get that much needed win.
Pretty much, and they needed just to. I mean, the division pretty much is in there. They're in the driver's seat when it comes to the division.
Mm-hmm.
But to win that division and then get playoff seedings, I don't think Dallas wants to play that wild card.
Right.
So why not try to get the best position you can and get that top speed? Now they're not going to catch Seattle, I think. But the number two is a possibility.
Right.
Beat the Saints. That'll help you when that time comes because I think the Saints pretty much won that division.
Oh yeah.
Right now, I think Green Bay is the leader in the North.
Yeah, Green Bay is up by a half a game over Detroit.
Right. So,
and if they lose this next game, it's gonna be a three-way tie.
Right. So you definitely want the upper hand in the playoff season, so you get out of that wild card week.
Mm-hmm.
And home field.
Right. And like you said too, I don't think that if they have to play in that first weekend, I'm not feeling confident about them because we already know that the team that they're probably more than likely going to have to face against is going to be San Francisco, unless San Francisco bounces back and Seattle takes a little bit of a tumble backwards. Let's just say you're going to have to play against Seattle or San Francisco. In Dallas, both of those teams, and even though you do have home field advantage, both of those teams are just tough matchups here, and they both have good defenses. They know how to run the football, and that's especially they're built for playoff football. And the chances of you winning this game, being a team that doesn't really throw the ball, that doesn't really run the ball that much unless you have to, and the so-so defense, the shakiness of the defense for the Cowboys, I just don't like their chances in that game. And you want to try to get the two seed, perfect, great. You can do that. But this game's a must win. It is a must win. They gotta do it. They gotta do it. So, that's pretty much it. So we're gonna go ahead and take ourselves a 30-second break or so, and we're gonna come back talking about what went on as far as college football. Florida State continues to win. Alabama, they have their big game against LSU. We'll be right back to talk about that with the Gafford and Brown Show. All right, and we're back with the Gafford and Brown Show, and we just got done talking about the NFL. About the NFL, pretty much went on to giving you guys another update. Houston's up 24-6 with a minute and 45 left in the third quarter. If you want to also interact on the show, you can drop a comment on the comment box below. Let us know how you were doing. You can also tweet us at Primetime2832 or Uptown Bobby. And hey, and Skype is also on Primetime2832. Let us know how we're doing. If there's another thing that you want us to talk about, debate about, hey, fine, perfect. We'll be sure to get your thoughts on the air as well. Coming into this though, college football basically coming up here. We got ourselves our new BCS rankings. Pretty much everything is still the same as they were last week. Only one major difference. Alabama's still number one, but Florida State, they moved past Oregon as 2. Oregon's at 3. Ohio State is still down there at 4, and Stanford is at 5. Thoughts about the rankings so far, and what do you think?
Business as usual. Sounds about right. I really think Florida State's going to hold on to that number 2 spot unless Bama, loses to LSU. I think they might jump. They'll jump Bama. I think right now it's going to be 1 and 2, probably until January.
Right, and this Florida State team, they are downright dominant, and they had that game against Miami, won 41-14. Didn't get a chance to see most of the game here, but from what I heard, great game by them, and they're 8-0. I mean, looking at their body of work over the past 4 games in October, I mean, you had a 63-0 dominant win over Maryland. You had a game where everybody was hyping Florida State up against Clemson. Everybody was thinking Clemson was going to come out there and do a pretty good job. Clemson just did not do what they were going to do. Lost 51-14. NC State won 49. You beat them 49-17, and you beat Miami 41-14. Looking at the rest of their schedule, Florida State has Wake Forest, Syracuse, Idaho, and Florida. And then you probably have, and then they're going to have the ACC title game, and we're going to go ahead and probably already pencil in Miami in that one. Things are looking pretty good for Florida State right now, don't you think?
Yeah, they're in the driver's seat. Like you say, they control their own destiny and all that good stuff. Yeah. Well, I'm a bit skeptical of a team like Oregon still, though.
Right.
I think Oregon gets a lot of praise and stuff, but they say they're treated unfairly, but I just don't get it. I don't think they're capable of beating a team like Florida State or Alabama.
Right. Florida State, they're going to have, Oregon, my bad. Oregon's going to have a lot of chances to come back and put themselves back in this race. Next week, they have a huge Thursday game against Stanford. And if they can win that game, I think that puts them up above Florida State right there. Their rest of their season is going to be Utah, Arizona on the road. Then you also have Oregon State, who may or may not be ranked by that time that they get ready to play them. And then they have the Pac-12 championship game where it's looking like it could be right now. Arizona State is number 1 in the South, but Arizona State could be in the mix. Arizona could be in the mix. UCLA still has a chance. And heck, even USC with their bounce back, they have a chance to probably play against Oregon. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to get that 2 spot. It's going to be interesting because I feel like that both them and Florida State are just alternating it around. And if it gets to that point, hey, we could have ourselves a pretty good debate on who could give Alabama, if Alabama's still perfect at this time, who could give Alabama the best game.
Yeah, and I think Alabama will. I think they're going to beat LSU. Um, but if they were to, we would have a title game today. I would still pick them to win all over Florida State.
Mm.
Granted, I'm not no way, shape, or form disrespecting Florida State or
Right.
underestimating them. Wow, we really have a close one now. The Colts just scored a touchdown, making this game a little bit more interesting.
Andrew Luck.
And they're going for two.
Andrew Luck to T.Y. Hilton right now, and 24-12. Get this 2-point conversion. Pretty much back in the ball game here. 10-point ball game, and Houston fans, I would not. I mean, as we expected here, Colts, they weren't going to go away. They weren't going to go away, not one bit. Back to Alabama, though. I see two games here that teams could probably try to get them in. LSU, of course. LSU could win this game. I don't know. LSU's been. They didn't. If it was been earlier in the season, probably would have said LSU had a little bit of a better chance. But I don't like LSU's chances. I hope LSU wins, but I think Bama's going to win this one. I think, honestly. Then you have Mississippi State, Chattanooga, and then you also have Auburn, which I think is a year away of really trying to compete and beating Alabama. And also, Indianapolis did not get the 2-point conversion, so it's going to be 24-12 at the third quarter. But then you have the SEC championship game. Mizzou, South Carolina. Who do you think gets that? Who do you think gets that win over Alabama? And then you also got Georgia possibly.
None of them are good enough to be Alabama in the SEC title game. I think South Carolina would make it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick any team out of the East, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
Georgia gave a hell of a game last year.
Yeah. Too much injuries. Yeah, too many injuries about them. So, which also gives us to our next point here. Then the big elephant in the room, team that has one of the biggest, the longest winning streaks in the nation, but is not getting the love that they deserve. Ohio State's standing out there at 4 and wondering how come they're not in the national championship picture. And how come they're not?
Big Ten, it's just extremely weak conference. I mean, people give the Pac-12 more respect than the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
And who have they really beaten? It just goes on like that. But I think if they win out,
right.
They might. And if they win out and some major losses happen, then they can be in the conversation there.
Right.
Say Florida State will lose one of these games, or Oregon will lose to say Stanford or whatever happens. Yeah. Then maybe they jump in the conversation, but they'll take something like that to happen.
Right. Their biggest, and it's just like you said, who really have they played? There was a 2-game stretch where they actually had a chance that they probably looked pretty decent in. Wisconsin earlier in the season, where they did not look too good in that one, but Wisconsin was ranked 23rd at the time. And right now, Wisconsin might be their best chance of really trying to get them to move up, say if they, of that. But, you beat them, okay? Then you have Northwestern, who at the time was 4-0. They were number 16. But the big problem there is, Northwestern has not done a lot since that game.
Right.
Unfortunately, they've lost 5 straight games.
Right.
That's not helping out Ohio State's chances right there. And I'm pretty sure Ohio State was like, "Come on, man, y'all were ranked number 16. Y'all gotta, win a game, help us out, something like that." And it's just tough. Looking at the rest of their schedule, they have a bye week. They have Illinois. They travel to Illinois. They travel to Indiana. They play against Indiana. They travel to Michigan in the Big House, which suffered a loss to Michigan State. and that could have helped out Ohio State there. Then you have a game against the other team in the Big Ten. I think the winner of the Legends division, which more than likely could be Michigan State, which might help out Ohio State, but they're probably looking for some help in this case, right?
Yeah, definitely need some help. Somebody has to go down and step up and get that extra push because I just don't get it.
Right, and this is not. I don't think there's going to be a chance for them to get in there. And like I said, I'm reading an article here. They could have had a chance to play Vanderbilt, who's actually doing pretty good this season. But when your non-conference schedule is facing against the likes of Buffalo, San Diego State, Cal, and Florida A&M, who they hung 76 on, it's not going to bode well for the computers, and it's not going to bode well for the voters in trying to state your case on if you're better than, Florida State or Oregon. It's not. It's seriously, it's not going to do that. And still, of course, they would be better than Baylor. You got to give them that respect, though, too, because I think Baylor's going to lose at least. I just don't like I don't like how they're going to look in these 4 of their next 5 games, really.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to leapfrog past Florida State or Oregon, and they're going to really need some help in this case. And they're going to need, if not, they need both of them to really lose this game, one of these games. And time's ticking. So there you go. Now, also going on to the rest of the top 25. Most of these games were pretty much business as usual. Here, I guess what we just can ask right now is, who would be your top Heisman, top players in the Heisman race right now?
It's such a nobody stands out to me. No one really. What about you? I mean,
I think if I had to choose 3 to go to New York, in no order, this is no order. I think Manziel has to go because of what he's doing. I think you have to give him that. I honestly feel like that you got to at least give Jameis Winston a chance. They're number 3 in the nation. He's playing pretty well as a freshman. You got to give him a chance, I feel like. And Marcus Mariota. I think he's going to get a chance to go there, too. And honestly, I feel like if you're going to have to probably take somebody from Alabama, it's got to be A.J. McCarron, too. Because all the guy does is just win games. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah,
you got to give him a shot.
It's not really glossy numbers or nothing special, but he gets the job done.
Right. So I think if it's got to be those 4, actually, I think those 4, they'll get that chance to go to New York. What about you?
I agree with you, Liz, but like I said, it's no one stands out really to me. I think they should pick straws for this year's Heisman.
So it's not going to be like it was last year or probably the last couple of years.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. It's just for like, and it's crazy because we're talking about the players that's going to be like the number 1 draft picks. Of course, I think the 2014 draft class is a deep draft class. Manziel, Boyd, Bridgewater still is in there. Mettenberger, Mariota. If Mariota decides to come out, Mettenberger. You said Mettenberger. Murray from Georgia. That class really stands out. But as far as like this year, there's not really that one standout player that you can probably say like, hey, well, this guy's going to win this. I'm very sure this guy is going to. It's just a lot of games to be played too, and hopefully somebody has that one Heisman moment here. So, hopefully we'll get the chance to see what else went on too. Now, I know another thing as well. Uh, ULM's starting to come back, so I had to throw that
Yeah,
out
the
there.
game, and a lot of people thought the season was over when Browning got hurt, but not so much.
And it's crazy. Browning came back.
Brown is back.
Brown is back.
I thought it was a season and injury.
I don't know what happened. I mean, it's just the legend of Kobe Browning.
On that John Cena juice.
It's just the legend of him, and it's just I got an opportunity to go back to Monroe, see the game against Georgia State, and the guy looked very good, and he had a pretty good game against Troy. Uh, you know, it's just crazy, and it's like you tell a guy here his season's over with, and next thing you know, about 3 weeks later, he just decides, hey, I feel healthy enough to come back. A lot of people were tweeting me, like they were wondering, well, I thought he was hurt. Apparently, he's not too hurt to play, and he might be giving them the boost to get them into a bowl game for the second time. Here now, I guess taking a look at what the bowl projections are, I saw on CBS, and I don't know if it's going to be like this for the rest. I don't know if it's going to be like this after they got the win. They have us going to Idaho, in Boise, and I don't think they may go there. ESPN right now has us going to. They have us going to the GoDaddy Bowl in Mobile. One guy, Mark Slaybach, has us going there. And Brad Edwards has us going to the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl in Detroit. So, at least the good thing is you're in bowl projections, but at least I would hope that it's going to be somewhere close where fans are going to get a chance to go to.
Now, what do you think so far about the Independence Bowl? How do you think that's going to go for the city this time?
I hope that it's going to be pretty good. It looks like right now, as far as the SEC, we're probably going to get banned. I think that's probably going to be a foregone conclusion on that one. And Vanderbilt's pretty good in order. So I'm pretty sure they'll draw a few fans there. We're pretty much be happy to have them there. As far as the ACC teams, looking at it on ESPN, both of their top guys here have Boston College coming down here to Shreveport, which I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that, because how many people are gonna make that long trip down there from Boston to Shreveport?
Yeah.
And especially during the holiday season, I don't think not too many people are going to be wanting to go down to Shreveport, which, I hope they do, but if you're going to be realistic, flying costs is going to be a little bit tough.
Right.
So, I guess looking at it also from CBS Sports, and I'm waiting till I pull that one up, especially here. Right now, it seems like I have Maryland coming. So either one of them is probably going to be fun, and I think at least you got I think Vanderbilt's going to be a lot.
SEC team, yeah. Vanderbilt has some pull. They're not. This ain't your daddy's Vanderbilt team.
Right.
They're pretty exciting.
Yes, especially with James Franklin out there.
Yeah.
Who's a very good coach, and I have a feeling that, if not, some schools probably going to try to hire him away. I think I got a feeling that sometime sooner or later. Don't you think? So, maybe somebody goes out there and gets him. So there you go. So we're gonna go ahead, take ourselves another 30-second break. When we come back, we're gonna update you guys a little bit more on the game, and also probably a few more things too. Our NBA preview.
Yeah.
Our NBA preview. I just forgot about that in our predictions as well. So we'll be right back in about 30 seconds with Gafford and Brown Show. All right, we're right back with the Gafford and Brown Show and giving you guys a little update about this game. Houston is up 24-12. 10 minutes left to go. This is the time for the Coast to want to come back. They're going to have to start doing that right now because they got the ball and they are on their 43-yard line. So, looking at Andrew Luck's second one.
Again, wow.
Throwing the deep ball, and just as we just called it.
Wow.
T.Y. Hilton, touchdown, 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 touchdown.
Andrew Luck is that guy. I didn't think he got beat that bad.
No. And as we look at the replay here, I mean, T.Y. Hilton, amazing guy, an explosive guy. And, you know, they need a receiver to step up since Reggie Wayne is pretty much out for the season. T.Y. is a very good player, and it's just his second year, and it's just scary how good he is. So I'm glad to see him go out there and do pretty well. And I guess our other update there, opting to go for one. Advertisary makes it, and Houston is now up 24-19 with 9:45 left to go. We'll say that in the fourth quarter. Case Keenum, it's your turn. You got to try to do something out here, right? You got to try to go out there and do something. So we'll give you guys updates as the game continues to go along. Right now, though, we'll shift our sports and we'll go to the hardwood and starting things off at the NBA. Good first week of the season here. Our NBA preview, you know, still going to come by. I know the season started and stuff, but we'll still be able to give you guys what do you think here. I guess what we could start off here is who had the best offseason?
Oh, man. I would have to give it to right now. Just looking at things, well, I'm thinking long term.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I would have to give it to Cleveland and Miami. Because I think, even though he's not playing yet, I think Greg Oden is going to come in when it matters. Him and Michael Beasley.
Mm-hmm.
And Cleveland, because the Bynum move, we haven't seen him do too much yet, but
right.
he's actually on the court.
Mm-hmm.
The draft, they took the draft pick. He's being productive as well, and they kept Barrage out, and he's healthy. And, I mean, I think they can make a playoff push. Also, the Detroit Pistons, who picked up Josh Smith and Dremmons. Josh Smith and Jennings, Brandon Jennings, and they're doing well. So I would say those three teams have right now, I would say the most impressive for the offseason to me. Disappointing, Brooklyn. I'm not really impressed yet. Granted, I'm expecting them to be more of a second season team.
Right, and I think it's going to be the same thing for Brooklyn to me. You know, hey, they're going to second half playoffs. This team is that's where they're built for. Their first half, they're probably not going to be that impressive coming out of the gate, but hey, they got a ton full of veterans out there. I think the one thing is though that after this season or after the next season, if they don't do well, they're going to be looking at those high luxury taxes.
Right.
And it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be crippling for them, for them to survive. And you know, pretty much, Prokhorov, he's pretty much putting all of his chips on the table right now, shortening the window of this team. Gave away 3 number ones to the Boston Celtics here, who I have a feeling that maybe in the future they could come back.
Yeah, I think so as well. I don't think they're going to be that horrible this year.
Right, and you know they'll hang around in there. And I got a good feeling that when Rondo comes back, they have themselves a decent team. Jeff Green, he's not a bad player. They got some good rookies. Avery Bradley, he's not a point guard, but this guy's a pretty good defender. You know, Brandon Bass, you know, he's pretty good too. You know, you got yourself. There's some talent out there for the Celtics. They're not going to tank. And you know, they could be pretty interesting. It's going to be a pretty interesting season for them. I think for the team that probably really did had a pretty good all season that I liked, I got to give it to the Pelicans. Um, I don't think the playoffs,
No.
but they're going to be in the hunt, and they got themselves a good player in Tyreek Evans. Uh, Anthony Davis is going to be a second year. We're already seeing him do pretty well. And also, we're going to see, how Anthony Davis is doing. Like I said, too, Eric Gordon, see what he does. You also pick up Drew Holiday, too, as their point guard. And, you know, that's going to go through leaps and bounds. And I know it may not show a lot this season, but hey, next year, they could be a team that's going to be to reckon with.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think this year they'll finish around 9th, 10th. But, yeah, they're not ready for the playoffs yet.
Mm-mm.
Now, one team I think is ready for the playoffs in the West is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think this is their year. They get in, they make some noise. I'm not expecting them to go to the Western Conference Finals or nothing, but I expect them to be productive. I think they're going to finish around 8 to 7. Yeah, I'm liking Minnesota right now. I like the fact that they're healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You have a healthy Kevin Love, a healthy Rubio. You have an additional Kevin Martin. Still got Derek Williams. I just think they finally make that push this year.
Yeah, I think so too. It's like if not now, when will they? And especially they need to make this run, or Kevin Love is going to be a free agent next season. He could go if he does not see any marked improvement. But I have a feeling Minnesota, they make it to the playoffs this year. I like their team. I really do like their team. I like who they have out there. And they have to just go out there and do something. I think they could probably slip in as a 7 or 8. I got a good feeling that they will do that. And just also speaking of them earlier today too, they had a pretty good, impressive win against the Knicks, where they scored 40 points in the first quarter, and they held on to win 109-100. So, hey, you're 3-0 right now. Things are going pretty good too, and gotta give them props.
Right.
Now, I guess as far as this too, who you think is gonna, as far as the playoff teams, who you think is probably gonna be playoff contenders?
Spurs, Clippers, Thunder, Warriors. Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs, Clippers, Thunder, Warriors. Rockets, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, Nuggets, Timberwolves.
LJ. I think as far as the West, Spurs, OKC, Clippers. I'm inclined to say the Rockets at 4. I think the Warriors will be 5. I actually think the Grizzlies probably going to be a 6th team in there, even though they got a new coach. 7, I think the Timberwolves are going to be 7, and I pretty much will be inclined to say Dallas making it as 8. I think they got a pretty decent team this year, finally, and at least you got some continuity. So, I think you got that. Sadly, I have to leave out Portland, New Orleans, Lakers, and Denver, which I think they're going to be very good teams, but the West is stacked. You got 12 teams out there competing for 8 positions, and those 4 are probably going to be on the outside of the
game. Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think the Lakers, I think after the next season they'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I just don't think they have nothing to play off.
Right, and it's crazy because I read on Sports Illustrated that they have them actually as the 6th best team in the West.
Right.
I just don't see. I just don't see it. I mean, unless you're gonna say Kobe is gonna come back in about 2 weeks. I just don't see it really. Now they had a good win against the Clippers.
Yeah, impressive win. A much needed win as well.
Right. And they're not going to be bad. I mean, they're going to win somewhere between 30, 35, and 40 games. They're not going to be bad, but it's just the problem is you got a lot of other teams out there that's good in those positions.
It's better teams.
And they might just need to just go out there, but maybe the lottery. I mean, they're not going to tank. I got a good feeling here.
No, they're going to fight to the end.
Right. Here. So they're gonna be decent right there. They're gonna be pretty good. Decent. They're gonna be fighting that. How about the East?
Oh man, Miami of course. Miami, Chicago, Pacers. Miami, Chicago, Pacers. I'm gonna say Brooklyn. After Brooklyn, it gets kind of weird. I think Atlanta can make it. Then I'll say Detroit. Toronto and Cleveland. Now, I'm trying to think if they'll leave any top tier team out. I think I got those.
Right.
Yeah, I'll go with those.
I think by 8, Miami, of course. Miami's gonna be number 1. The gap is starting to get a little bit narrower, but wow, that 2-3 is gonna be pretty interesting too. But I think that 2-3 is gonna be interesting. Give me Indiana at 2. I honestly think Indiana is probably going to be a better number 2, and I'll say the Bulls at number 3. I think Brooklyn's going to be a 4. I think 5 is going to be the Knicks. 6.
Yeah, the Knicks. I love the Knicks out.
Yeah.
So put the Knicks out. Take Toronto out and put the Knicks in.
Okay.
So
yeah. 5 the Knicks. 6. Hey, I can't discredit Atlanta. They at least have themselves a good team. 7 and 8 is going to be interesting, but I feel like you got to put Detroit in at 7. I like the moves that they did this season, and they got themselves a better team. 8, wow, this is going to be interesting. Cleveland?
Yeah, Cleveland's might.
Cleveland, but I don't think it's going to be Cleveland. I think it's probably going to, if I had to choose somebody, I might choose the Wizards.
I left the Wizards out. I think the Wizards are very capable of making playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I like the way Cleveland's mixture is.
Right.
I think you have veterans like Barajal, young guys who have something to prove like Bynum, and then you just have the superstar and Kai.
Right.
And I think Washington definitely, if they can, if Walker stay healthy, if they can stay healthy, I think they're capable of doing it. But I just like Cleveland a little more right now.
Right, and like I said, it's gonna be tough. Because,
it's gonna be interesting. And Toronto's
too. Yeah, those 3 teams that got a good feeling. They're gonna be competing for that last spot. Washington. Kind of like them, and I think if you can go ahead and say Cleveland, they stay healthy. Fairchild stays healthy, and also Bynum stays healthy. And hey, you got yourself. I think they got the best coach of those 3, in Mike Brown. I mean, the guy's been there, with this team.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
When they were doing pretty good. Now, granted, you had the best player. You had the best player in the NBA at the time, which kind of helps things out. But coaching does also have a lot of stuff to do too.
Right.
And he didn't come out luck. Luck.
And I take nothing away from
right
from him. Yeah, doing those that moment. Yeah,
Right.
I agree with you.
So, he knows what to do in these high pressure situations. This is gonna be interesting here. I think Washington could have that chance to go out there because Wall is pretty much gonna be a free agent. I think a restricted free agent, if not unrestricted. But he's already getting a little frustrated about this team. He wants to go out there. He wants to put himself out there and win. Wants to put himself out there and win some. Get into the playoffs here. And you got him, Bradley Beal, Otto Porter. You got yourself a pretty decent team. It's gonna be interesting to see what Cleveland does. Honestly, I would like to see Cleveland out there make it as an 8 because, well, hey, you got yourself a Miami and Cleveland matchup,
right,
in the first round of the playoffs. And just think how good that would be.
Yeah. Now let's peer ahead to the future a little bit.
Okay.
Everyone keeps talking about LeBron 2014.
Mm-hmm.
How realistic do you think it is for LeBron to leave Miami and go back to Cleveland?
Whoo. I don't see him doing that quite yet, honestly. If I were to have to give a percent chance, I would say maybe 15 to 20%, and even that might be a little bit too high. I think he's at where he wants to be in Miami. He had to make the best move for himself. He's doing pretty good in Miami. I believe, of course, he's now taking that leadership role there, and if they can continue to surround him with some good players, hey, he'll be still there. Now, what do you think the chances of him going back to Cleveland now are going to be, though?
I'm kind of like you. I don't think it's going to happen.
Right.
It'd be kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool,
It would be.
But I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Now, if he does come back to Cleveland, I'll probably say there's going to be somewhere when he gets older. Like probably the 30, getting that last contract, and once again, T.Y. Hilton, Andrew Luck to T.Y. Hilton, and we have ourselves a Colts lead.
This is pretty bad for the Texans.
Oh, man. T.Y. with three touchdown receptions. And, it's just that easy. Watching it right now, makes the moves on the cornerback. And right now, Indianapolis, they're going to go for 2, I would think, here, honestly. 4 minutes in the fourth quarter. Andrew Luck, we're going to see what's going to happen here, but they regain the lead 25-24 here. And it just seems like this one right now is just, the air has just gone out of the building from the Texans. And right now, Andrew Luck throws it, and
yeah, he got it.
He got it. So 27-24. Now, Case Keenum, you gotta make this. You gotta do this. This is it. But I think he's done enough right now just to say that he's gonna have a starting job.
Yeah, he definitely has a starting job.
So I really think that he is. He has that pretty much locked in right now because you can't blame him for this if they lose this game. No. You can't blame him for that. But back to LeBron, I think it's gonna be the case here that if he comes back, he'll probably come back when he turns like 35, and if he has all of his rings and all that, he might come back to Cleveland. Bygones will be bygones, and I think that'll be interesting too if he does decide to come back. Now, let's also get to some of these awards too. MVP award, of course, is going to be LeBron. Let's just say this though: who do you think is going to be number 2?
You know what? I think you might give me a little homer. I think KD takes it this year. I think he takes it. I think he finally has the season where he takes the crown. And I think LeBron finishes second.
Mm-hmm. And that would be one thing because some of these ESPN guys, they actually did say they're going to give it to, they would give it to Kevin Durant, Michael Wallace, and Min El Hassan, and Tom Haberstroff has KD going out there and winning this. Ethan Strauss also. Some people also have Chris Paul winning this as well.
I can see that.
So I think if it doesn't have to be, if it's not going to be LeBron, I might just throw this guy's name in the list too. I think
No,
I'm not gonna say Dirk. I think Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose. I really think Derrick Rose has a pretty decent chance if he'll pretty much finish second place, and especially if the Bulls have a pretty good season of them winning like 50 games or 55 games or something, which I think that is possible. Derrick Rose has to be at least high up there as far as the MVP ballot. He has to be. He really has to be. They weren't that without him winning 45 and getting into the second round, but with him, the sky's the limit. Like we said, this is a guy that won it in 2011, which a lot of people probably did not think, might have thought that LeBron deserved it, or a lot of people also thought that maybe Derrick deserved it too. But this is a guy he's still pretty good, and he's returning. And he's starting to get better, and all that. Rookie of the year, and I know there's not too many that's really stand out.
Right now, a lot of people on the Michael Porter Williams bandwagon, but I like Victor Oladipo. I always have trouble with his name.
Mm-hmm.
Victor Oladipo in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
I like him.
Yeah, and I think I think it's gonna be him. Honestly, I think it's gonna be him. He's going to. I think he's gonna have the better opportunities. He came in as the most polished player. Orlando Magic, they said if they had the number one pick, they would have taken him. I feel like that's going to be the guy that's going to do it. A lot of people actually agree on that one too. I think it's going to be a mixed bag, though. I mean, of course, you got Anthony Bennett in the mix. Trey Burke is also in the mix. Ben McLemore is in the mix. One person actually picked Kelly the guy from the Celtics that they got from Gonzaga. So I don't think that's going to happen, though. But, it's going to be interesting here to see what is there. Defensive Player of the Year.
I'm going to Roy Howard.
Yeah.
He has a lot to prove, and why not?
Yeah. This got to be White. Let's start with the White. I think new scenery, not too much pressure now in Houston. He's going to bring a little bit more of a focus to defense that they had last year, where they were just really nilly. So he's going to make that team a whole lot better. I would not be surprised, though, if Hibbert winds up at number 2. I would not be surprised about that. I would not be surprised about that one bit whatsoever. And other guys like Noah, I wouldn't be surprised about that either. Coach of the Year.
I think Mark Jackson, man. Mark Jackson deserves it. I can't say he deserves it this year since this year just started, but I think he continued to, do great things with Golden State. Oh! And I think he gets credited for he's gonna get credit for that success, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And if they somehow get a number 1 seed, I think he'll definitely get it. I think he should have got it last year, but Jordan Paul and the Nuggets, and it's kind of a lifetime achievement award for
right.
Paul. But I'm thinking Mark Jackson finally gets one. What about you?
Man, I think Mark Jackson has to be up there too. He really does. What if the Clippers actually do pretty well with Doc Rivers as far as like the second half? I mean, I think that he'll probably get some ideas, and he'll probably get some votes and say a little bit too. It's gonna be an interesting one because I think this is the one that ESPN has a lot of variations here of who could win this. They got Doc Rivers at first place. They also got Frank Vogel, Mark Jackson, Tom Thibodeau, Greg Popovich, Rick Carlisle, and the guys with one vote. They have Mike Brown, Dwayne Casey from the Raptors, Eric Spoelstra, and Monty Williams for the Pelicans. So, but I think Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson. He really got these. He really got the Warriors playing well, and he deserved it last year. I think he'll get it this year. He'll get it this year. I feel like. Who's gonna get the number one pick? Well, who's gonna have the worst record?
Man, this is an interesting one. We joked a lot about Philly having it, but I think Boston might have it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Boston might get it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Boston. I'm gonna say Boston or Milwaukee.
Right. Yeah, I got to go with them too. Wouldn't be surprised if Phoenix winds up in there too.
Phoenix.
I would not be surprised if Phoenix is gonna go there. But Boston, I think they're in the rebuilding, and I think they're probably gonna try to go very well, and they might get quote unquote rewarded with that number one pick. But I honestly feel like that this is probably going to be, a team like, it could be the Suns. Suns probably going to wind up with the worst record. They just decided to part ways with a couple of players. There you go. And I know we joked about Philadelphia, but I mean, look who's at 3-0 right now.
Yeah, with a very impressive rookie in Michael Porter Williams.
Right. I don't think in no way, shape, or form this is going to hold up.
No.
It's not going to hold up.
It's not going to be the playoffs.
No.
But
it gives you hope for the future.
Yeah, definitely hope for the future. And you just got to like the fact that, they have young guys out there playing. Then you got Noel,
Mm-hmm.
A guy who's sitting on the bench right now, but he's going to be healthy soon.
Right.
Probably I think they're going to sit him out the rest of the year. But
right.
Next year, him, the draft picks they stocked up.
Right.
Still got Thaddeus Young, still got Spencer Hawes.
Which could be interesting, too, because if the guys that they have there, I mean, it's going to be possible that, I know that they're not going to continue this, but, these guys might be trade bait. Like, Thaddeus Young, he might be used as trade bait, and, maybe a guy like Evan Turner, he might be used as trade bait as well, and, those guys, when you got them out there, who knows, they could trade them away for expiring contracts, pieces, stuff, and next thing you know, you got yourself a better team. You're back to being, competing in the East, and you can just bounce yourself back in that case. But it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen this season. I feel like that this is going to be a good season. Miami, of course, they're the favorite. Who do you think is speaking? I forgot to even mention that. Who do you think is going to come into the finals, and who do you think is going to win?
That's a good question. Well, of course, Miami. I don't see nobody else see Miami. But the Western team is always interesting. Man, that's gonna be bad. I'm gonna say right now, this is just off. Just say Golden State. Golden State versus Miami.
And I think I would be interested about seeing that too, because Golden State's got a pretty good team. And especially with Iguodala playing for him too. I'm gonna say Miami plays against the Clippers, and I have Miami win the whole thing. I feel like that with the Clippers, Doc Rivers is going to have them, and they still have some variations of Lob City, but he is going to have them performing a whole lot better in the playoffs than Vinny Del Negro had them performing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is the guy that, I mean, I think if Vinny would have stayed there, Chris Paul wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But now you got yourself Doc. Chris Paul stayed. They have a commitment to winning. They got some shooters out there. They got Jared Dudley now. And guess what? You also got J.J. Redick. And this team, I mean, the Clippers, these are not your daddy's Clippers. And they're playing very well. They're playing well. So I think the Clippers, they'll pretty much get themselves a chance to get in. You know, it's going to remain to be seen about what OKC does. I think that they'll pretty much will be okay, but I think the Clippers could try to beat them here with a deep group, you know, with better coaching now and a deeper lineup. And I think San Antonio, I won't count them out, but I think that last year was their best chance of probably doing it with the core group that they have now. They are still young, but their players are Kawhi and all of them, but you know, their core three guys they're not getting any younger.
Nah.
So, you know, they might give us a surprise here, a run for the money, but you know, yeah. So we'll go ahead and take ourselves another 30-second break, and when we come back, we'll get to the rest of this game that has gone down to like the last 58 seconds, and with Houston down by 3 and Indianapolis getting ready to punt. And we'll talk about the rest of the stuff that's going on in the world of sports today. This is the Gafford and Brown Show. All right, we're right back with the Gafford and Brown Show, and this is where dreams are made of right now for Case Keenum. Once again, you're here. You got the ball in the last 2 minutes of the game. You actually got 44 seconds left. 27-24, first and 10, and the ball is in your territory. I think you got the ball's on the 33-yard line. Drive 50 yards, get a chance to get a field goal to win this game, or at least tie this game. And right now, Ben Tate drops the pass.
Yeah, that was almost there.
Right. But do you think he's going to be able to, with this amount of time here, do you think that he's can mount up the drive and we can see an overtime game? Or do you think
It's
Coach
possible.
got it?
It's possible. I have faith in him. But are we going to see it? I don't know.
Right. It's going to be pretty interesting here. Really pulling for the kid. Like I said, the kid has done a nice job. I feel like that the starting job is pretty much his to lose.
Right.
And right now, Houston is pretty much on midfield. Let's see. We got 27 seconds. Let's see. We're gonna see what Case is gonna do here. Looks like they're gonna run a play. Here goes Case again. Throws it to Andre Johnson, and now we got something to work on. No timeouts left. So it looks like they're gonna have to spike the ball. Okay, 5 seconds left to go. 5 seconds left to go. 27-24. Randy Bullock comes out here for Houston. Bullock from 50 yards out this year is 0 for 3, but from 0 to 49, he's 13 to 17, 13 for 17. Now, this is going to be interesting to see what does he do. Pressure comes out here. Pressure busts pipes. It also makes diamonds. Looks
Man,
like this is a 52-yard field.
This is for it all.
55, actually.
Wow. No freeze.
And no good.
Andrew Luck does it again.
And he has to be the worst feeling guy right now in Houston, but you cannot. I like the performance out there for Houston in this game. Unfortunately, defense. Unfortunately, here Andrew Luck just.
Does Wade Phillips keep his job? I mean, after the season, because we understand, the heartbreak with his father and all that, but damn.
I think he does keep his job as the defensive coordinator. Wade, he's a much better coordinator than he is a head coach.
But we've seen them melt down a lot this season.
Right.
For example, that Seattle loss that come from behind win, and then this tonight, it's just man. So yeah, right now the Colts own the AFC South. They're pretty much at the top of right now, and it looks like they're for the taking.
Yeah, they're in the driver's seat. Now, the only team that probably might have a chance to answer right here, I think, is going to be Tennessee. But I don't think they're ready to. No, they're not ready.
Yeah, too many injuries.
They're not ready. Right. But it's pretty much going to be the Colts, and hey, it's the second year, and right now they're winning. They're winning games. They're doing pretty well. Got themselves a 2-game lead, and that's also important too at this time of the season. Indianapolis at 5-2, Tennessee's at 4-4, Houston's at 2-6, Jacksonville's at 0-8. So, and right now, if you could just say here, Indianapolis, I think they got to be thinking, let's try to go out there and get that 2 seed and get ourselves a bye as well. So, what do you think the chances of them trying to get that?
I think it's possible. I mean, they've beaten Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So if Denver were to win the division, I think it would help them, in that situation. And I think the Patriots. I think the Patriots are due for a couple more losses.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely see that happen. Possibly.
Right. I feel like they could bounce back in this. I think they're a better team than Cincinnati in this case. They're a better team than Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Looking at the rest of their schedule, Indianapolis has the Rams. They have 2 games against Tennessee. They have Arizona. They actually have Cincinnati on the road in Week 14, which should be a good game. They have these same Houston Texans in Week 15. That game's going to be in Indianapolis. Then they also got Kansas City, and they end the season out with Jacksonville. So it's going to be a nice transition for the rest of the season for them. And I feel like that they'll probably come away with about 11, 12 wins maybe. So it seems favorable. Now we're going to get a chance to see what these other teams are going to get the chance to do. And like you said, New England, they're probably due for a couple of losses. They look shaky, even though they did hang 55 against Pittsburgh today. They still got Denver to have to worry about after their bye week. And they still have Miami, who's a pretty decent team themselves. And I know Cleveland's not a good team, but, they hang in there.
They hang in games.
And especially with those receivers that they have, or those cornerbacks that they have, and what New England does not have is the best receivers right now. Oh man, and they continue to show this. And it's just they hang in there. They have a chance, and who knows? Buffalo at the end of the season too. E.J. Manuel. Baltimore as well. It's a tough one, man. It is a tough one. So we'll see what happens with that. For the rest of the, I guess the rest of the things that we have in the the NFL, well, also as far as the sports world is going on today. Um, like we said about Nick Foles, 7 touchdowns for him in that game. We were just talking about this too, but their owner for the game said the Eagles need a franchise quarterback. He got it. I mean,
He got it for the most part.
he got it for right now. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. The Eagles, there are no signs of tanking right now. So how they do for the rest of the season remains to be seen. If they get another guy out there, but I don't think that I think they're pretty decent right now. So you got yourself that. Looking at here the Jets. Jets, like we said, they won. Mark will win with them too. Do you think they have a chance of making it to the playoffs?
Slim. What about you?
Yeah, slim. It's slim chance. I don't like their chances to make it to the playoffs, so yeah, it's gonna be slim for them.
Give me a percentage.
I'll say 20. I'll be good and say 20. But they're gonna have to. They're in that bunch right now. Right now, the season we're in today, they would be in the playoffs. They would be in. But they're in that bunch with them, Miami, for that 6.
And we know earlier,
Right.
Miami was my team to get to the wild card.
Right.
So we'll see.
San Diego,
Yeah.
Tennessee, and I would not count on Cleveland right now with their quarterback change and their commitment to Jason Gallup. Finally, about time. So hey, it could be possible here that they could get in, but I don't like the Jets' chances. I think they're gonna be, but they'll make it interesting. Kansas City out here at 9-0. Tampa Bay, like we said, it's going to be bad for them. I don't think they'll get the one pick though, because Jacksonville is just god awful. And without just Blackman, they're going to need somebody just to go out there and throw the ball to. Let's see here. Once again, our thoughts and prayers go out to Gary Kubiak. And like we said, it's just the stress right now with what's going on too. Just to go out there too, the Detroit Tigers. They also got Brad Osmus as their bench coach. Well, they also got him. As the manager here. Let's see what else also went on too. Boston Red Sox won the World Series.
Yeah, something that that's another thing. The Red Sox fans can never cry again.
Right.
It's over. You guys are good. Don't suck anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got World Series now, multiple. So yeah, no more. I don't ever want to hear the curse again.
I don't want to hear it either.
Never mention.
I mean, right now, ever since, let's just say, the curse has been lifted over these past 10 years, 3 World Series rings for you guys, 1 for the Yankees.
Yeah.
I think that pretty much that just takes away everything. No, I don't want to hear it. Just enjoy it. I mean, hey, just make fun of the Yankees fans if you want to, but hey, enjoy it right there. And sad thing for St. Louis too, for them to go all the way out there.
But St. Louis,
right.
they got a couple. They when they won what 2011.
2011.
And I bet Albert Pujols was like, damn. All his money's nice, but
I spoke to a Cardinals fan while I was at the ULM game, and he was like, "Well, thank you very much, Albert Pujols, for leaving us and giving us the pitcher here that's been doing pretty well, Mike Walker. Thank you for him and all that stuff." And yeah, Albert has to be sitting back there like, if I were to go out here and do this all the way over again, would I take the $262 million to go to LA or would I stay here in St. Louis and keep on building what I got here? Because Cardinals have made it to the NLCS these past 3 years. They've made it to the NLCS these past 3 years, and it's been impressive for them. And yeah, it's just baseball city. I mean, you can't hate their fans. Can't hate their fans. Can't hate their fans one bit. Also, what's going on too? We're about to get ready for the college basketball season too.
Oh yeah.
So I can't wait to see that, and especially the 24 hours of hoops that's going to go on as well in the season going on too. And I think that's my favorite part of the year, trying to stay up for at least the 24 hours, which I know I probably more likely won't and can't do right now. But got some good games late at night, and got an opportunity to see that, and especially shout out to the Northwestern State Demons here, who are predicted to finish #1 in the men's basketball poll in the Southland Conference. So shout out to them, and I think this is going to be a good season for them. They got themselves a deep roster, so it's going to be interesting to see that. Also, here in Louisiana, this is going to be that time for the playoffs. Is going to come out too. So we'll get a chance to see what's going to happen there. For the rest of the happenings on in the sports world too. Just a lot of stuff here. The Dolphins here in the NFL, they're investigating claims of player misconduct. I guess their rookies, from what I read, the rookies were quote unquote being mistreated as like ATMs.
Yeah, that's how that's how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Even during college, that's how it goes when you play as guys buying stuff.
Right.
Crazy. That's just how it goes.
This is nothing new.
No.
And a lot of people have, put in here like these pictures and Twitter pics and Instagrams that whoever gets to be the #1 draft pick, let's just say, or some other second round or third round guy that makes a sizable amount, it's always pretty common that they go to the restaurant, might buy the best thing that's possible and load it up, but it's just a solidarity type thing. And unfortunately, with what happened with this one guy here, I think he claimed that he's pretty much bankrupt right now, and broke and bankrupt and stuff, and that's a sad thing right there. But it's been happening in the NFL for a long time. It's been happening in the NFL for a long time. It's nothing new. And if they find them for that, if it was excessive, I can understand it.
Right.
But if it's not excessive, if it's just like going to the restaurants and buying a lot of stuff, it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of tradition. I really hate to go against the guy like that, but yeah. So, you got that. Let's see here. What else also went on too? Here is also pretty crazy going on in the NBA, as we also said too. The Sixers are 3-0, which is surprising. And I guess another thing too for your Thunder, Russell Westbrook comes back into the NBA.
Yes, 21 points, 7 assists. Apparently, from what I read, it looked like nothing happened.
Right, and he's going to be a major component to see what he gets a chance to do. Do you think he came back too early though?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. I mean, I think him just being there is good.
Right.
It's good for the team. It's good for morale. I mean, he's needed.
Right. And yeah, this is pretty much needed. It's gonna be interesting to see when some of these other guys get ready to come back too, because I can't wait to see when Kobe comes back. I can't wait to see when Rondo comes back. And Bynum, I can't wait to see what he does. If he gets a chance to be a little bit more healthy, and also the same thing for Odin if he gets the opportunity to suit up here. So I can't wait to see those things. Um, I really can't wait to see what happens here, and yeah. So now, and also here an important thing too. I've seen Anthony Davis; he's been playing pretty well.
Yeah,
lately.
definitely playing well with Pelicans. Pelicans, I watched the first game. They kind of gave it away to Indiana. Yeah.
But I think it's just growing pains with them, and they're gonna be all right. They're gonna be okay, and they're gonna be focused too. And I guess for the rest of this too, it's gonna be a lot of good NBA action is gonna happen here, and seeing what's going to come there, and yeah. So, anything here else that you would like to add, and when's probably gonna be our next show?
Next show is definitely going to be a Wednesday. And that's really it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been keeping up with the fantasy team? Gafford and Brown Show.
Oh yeah, I've been doing pretty good right now. I know I lost to Evan, so I think I'm gonna be 5-4. But I see that you're 6-3.
Yes, 6-3. And I had a horrible week.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, Michael Vick was my quarterback.
Right.
I never wanted that anyway. But anyway, he was hurt, so I got Josh Freeman thinking he was gonna play this week.
Right.
Not the case.
Mm-hmm.
So I pretty much had a bad week, but I just picked up Case Keenum. So
Right.
hopefully that works out.
I hope so too. And with the way Case Keenum has been playing, he's been playing pretty good. And just found out another thing too, as far as the rankings as well in college basketball. Kentucky's the number one team. Kentucky's number one. Michigan State is number 2 in both polls. Louisville's 3. Duke is 4. The AP has Kansas at 5 and Arizona at 6, but the USA Today has Arizona at 5, Kansas at 6. And hey, your thoughts about those?
It sounds about right.
Yeah. Because especially, it's going to be interesting to see what Kentucky does with these number one picks. With that draft class they have there, it's like John Calipari just goes to anybody's room and just says, "Hey, I want this guy," and then next thing you know, he gets whoever he wants. So I think we're going to be in also for another good basketball season too. The AP has Carolina at 12 and 11 in the USA Today. Teams like VCU, they're in the top 15. Same for Gonzaga. Wichita State, glad to see those guys get a lot of love too. So, this is gonna be a good season. I have a feeling, especially with the players that's coming out, and also with Jabari Parker going at Duke and Andrew Wiggins at Kansas. It's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen with those.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll be back with our next show Wednesday, pretty much, and we're gonna get the opportunity here to say well, thank you guys for listening to us, and once again, without you guys, hey, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't enjoy what we're doing, but it makes it a lot more enjoyable too. So
yeah,
I'm Lamar Gafford.
I'm Robert Brown,
and this is it here. Next episode, number 50. Wow. So yes, it's been amazing here. It's been a good ride.
Oh yeah.
So we'll be right. We'll be back Wednesday.